Hello! So I've been wanting to make a home studio tour video like this for quite a while now, and it's a good thing that I'm doing it because we're actually selling this house and moving to a new place in about 3 weeks or so. One of the main reasons I wanted to move into this house is because it was going to give me a place to record and play live drums. And although I got to do a bunch of that, I never really got to use this room for its real intended purpose, and that's to use the green screen to make me look like I'm drumming in incredibly goofy places. But hey, what about right now? So this is my main room. It serves double duty as both a control room for audio production, as well as a live streaming room when I want to do online concerts. So I spent a lot of time in this room, including probably most of 2020. In the 3.5 years I've been here, I've made a lot of upgrades to the place that I think will be cool to check out. So how about we take a look around? We're here at my desk, and I thought we could start out with the audio gear. So I like to keep all of my digital I/O here at working level since these are the knobs I'm reaching for the most often. So I currently use two interfaces. The top one here is for my streaming PC. It is a Focusrite Saffire Pro 24. Below that is the Steinberg UR824 that I use with my audio PC. The next one is a Focusrite ISA 220 channel strip, and then finally a PreSonus DigiMax LT. Okay, the Saffire Pro 24. I bought this interface around 2012 to tour with my band Withershins as part of an all-digital keyboard and guitar rig, and I later used it with my stream PC for dual PC streaming. The preamps on it are pretty good, especially for the price. And I dig that there's an ADAT optical input on the back, and that allows me to chain extra inputs if I need to, or for my streaming PC, I would do a direct digital connection to my audio PC's interface. The Steinberg UR824 is my main audio PC's interface. I chose it because it was one of the few interfaces that had the right digital I/O options for me, as well as having a great sonic reputation, all for well under $1,000. That being said, I think the preamps are pretty underwhelming, but they're certainly usable. And it makes a great centerpiece for the rest of my digital gear, just because it has so much optical ADAT I/O. The Focusrite ISA 220 channel strip is probably the nicest piece of gear I own and gets used constantly. Its primary job is for my main vocal, but I also love it for low-end heavy sources such as kick drum and bass guitar. The preamp is fast, accurate, very full range, and has plenty of gain. The EQ is musical and easy to use. The opto compressor isn't life-changing, but It works great doing jobs that you'd typically use an LA2A for. I bought this PreSonus DigiMax LT back in 2005, along with a DigiDesign, who's now known as Avid, 002 rack interface. I wanted it for the extra input so I could record multiple mics on drums, and it was easy to connect via ADAT to the 002 rack. The preamps can be a little sterile or digital sounding for my tastes, but they're really quite accurate and useful. I use it mostly as an A to D converter for my RAMSA Console's group outputs. And then this desk has another rack right over here where I keep a few reverbs and my PATCHBAY. Alright, so this is just a power strip, but below that is the Alesis Quadraverb. And then we have the Korg DRV1000 digital reverb. And then if I move the camera down just a little bit, you can see my PATCHBAY. So over here we have a old RAMSA WRT812 recording console that I actually picked up for free off of Craigslist. I have sort of a weird thing for old RAMSA gear ever since I used one of their monitor consoles back in the day. But as soon as I saw this thing on Craigslist, especially for free, I was like, I need to have this in my life. So I emailed the owner and they had me come by this like kind of scary looking nondescript business location. And for a second, I thought I was going to become one of those stories that you hear about. But luckily for me, I swung by and they opened this giant like loading dock door in the back. And then it was super cool. There was nothing but like crazy awesome drum kits on the wall to the right. And then over to the left, there was nothing but awesome tube amps and guitar stuff and like this great work area. Like it would just look like a gear paradise, right? So I was freaking out. I'm like, what is this place? I've never heard of it. Like, is this a studio? Do you run a pro audio business? I started asking the owner, like, what did he do, And he's like, well, I'm the drummer for Clutch. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. If you don't know, Clutch is a rock band that's nationally known, has been touring around for like 30 years now, rocking arenas left and right. Super awesome. So it turns out that the dude from Craigslist that I was hanging out with actually happened to be on the cover of Modern Drummer magazine. So, thanks again, John Paul. I promise we're using your console for good. And yeah, Craigslist, it turns out it's not such a bad place. Actually start recording. That would help. Okay, so we're over here now, and then next to this console, we have another rack of audio gear. Starting from the top, we have the Drawmer Dual Gate DS201. Then over here, we have the FMR Audio. They make the really nice preamp and also the really nice compressor. And I have both of those in one rack unit here. Under that is the Klark Teknik DN500. It does compression and limiting and expansion as well. And then under that, I have three of basically the same piece of gear, but they're all just Valley Audio, or you might know Valley People, or these ones say Valley International. They're all Valley, but they're all basically Valley Audio 400 style channel strips. I picked up this Drawmer dual gate a while back in order to have a gate in the signal chain before any of my digital processing occurred. This is a classic live sound piece and has a couple of really nice options for filtering the key source if you'd like to really dig into fine-tuning the gate or want to apply some cool ducking effects. It also works great in stereo due to its stereo link function. This is the FMR Audio Really Nice preamp. It was my first preamp that I'd consider an upgrade, and these gave me a couple sonic options instead of using only my interface pre's. They have lots of gain available, and I still use them quite often. You're hearing one right now. Across from the R&P is the Really Nice compressor, also by FMR. This is considered a budget compressor, but it's widely known for sounding much bigger than its price tag. It can be very quick like a DBX unit, or you can engage the super nice mode for nice, slow, layered compression. The Klark Teknik DN500 is a dynamics workhorse that does limiting, expansion, and compression all in one box. To me, it sounds like an SSL channel strip compressor, and I like using it mostly as a parallel effect on drums. The limiters also have an option for clipping, which can produce some very aggressive tones. Lucky for me, I also happened to grab one with the optional output transformers, which give it a little more musicality in the low end. The Valley 400 is a really nice mid-forward preamp that I consider to be sort of a poor man's API. I like it a lot on snare drums and electric guitars for that reason. It's also a channel strip with EQ and compression. The EQ is basic but usable, and the compressor is very aggressive and capable of getting the kind of sounds you'd hear out of its sister piece, a Valley People Dynamite, known for its aggressive drum compression. Alright, it's time for guitars. First off, I just want to mention that I happened to lose the Vaudevillain shirt I was wearing. So we have a new shirt. Just wanted to warn you. I don't know what happened to it. If you happen to see it, let me know. I don't want to talk about it. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so the first guitar we're going to look at is the Fender Ed O'Brien Sustainer Stratocaster. This is probably my favorite guitar of all the ones I own. The coolest thing about it is the sustainer system. So by flipping this switch, it engages this pickup here to infinitely sustain your strings. You can like just hold a chord like this, or down here there's another switch for changing the harmonic mode. So this gives you like the octave harmonic, I believe. I use it for fake feedback all the time. We'll run it through an amp later, but very cool. Then the other cool things about this guitar is it comes with a hot rails in the bridge. So there's that one, and then there's the Texas Special if you want just pure Strat tones in the center position. And then the neck position has the sustainer pickup, which is actually pretty... It's pretty beefy. I like it for kind of hard driving stuff. But yeah, really cool guitar. One of my favorites. So I just did a whole video on this guitar. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, I will provide some links for that somewhere. Alright, so this next guitar is a 1960s Silvertone Silhouette. I use this all the time in recordings. It has a very unique sound to it because it's, well, for one, it's really old. Two, it's really resonant. It's very loud just in the room, you know? But these de-armond pickups are really nice and deep sounding. They're unlike any of my other guitars, really. So I like to use this a lot when recording stereo guitars. I'll probably do like the Strat on one side and this on the other. Here's the neck. The middle, then the bridge. So the tone is really unique on it. It sounds like very woody and earthy and open to me. I don't know. It's definitely unlike any of my other guitars. The other thing is the neck on this thing. It's really chunky and it has a great feel. I don't know. This one's just super comfortable to play. And the 24-inch scale length, it's a little bit shorter than all the other guitars I have, except for the Jaguar that we'll talk about next. But it's, I don't know, there's something about it that just makes me love playing this guitar, how it feels. This guitar just has that kind of vintage sound to it, you know, like... So one thing this guitar doesn't have a lot of is sustain. So a lot of times when I was playing solos with this thing, I would notice that if I was holding a note for a long time, it would kind of die out before I wanted it to. So that kind of brought me to my next guitar that I'm going to show you.